This mutation is called Bannable Offense, and it is being played on Malwarfare. We have two mutators active. We have Power Overwhelming, and we have Evasive Maneuvers. So, we all know that Amon cheats. He has global map vision. He has ghosts that come out of nowhere and nuke your base. And he has a lot of other stuff as well. He has access to hybrids, which are really cool units that you do not have access to. Amon is a notorious cheater, and now he will be cheating on Malwarfare. So, we have Abathur and Stukov over here that will be attempting to deal with this mutation. One of the things... The reason why I picked this replay is because Stukov in general struggles playing against this mission. This is actually really funny. That SCV just got irradiated by some ninja unit on that side. Even more reason to say that Amon is a cheater. But yeah, Stukov actually struggles on this mission in general because of how Stukov's creep spread mechanics work. So you can see over here that Stukov is already starting to build some structures on... like he's building an infested command center on this side, and this will just help utilize the creep. So one of the reasons I casted this replay is just to show you how to deal with this mission in general when you're playing Stukov, not necessarily Mutation. Stukov has creep spread mechanics that limit his ability to put down bunkers and anywhere he wants on the map, and bunkers can only burrow themselves if there's creep. So one of the things that you need to do is spread your creep a little bit faster, and the way you do this is by putting down a command center in this location over here, and this will cause the creep to spread because your creep actually emanates from your command centers. You can see here another psionic orb goes down, and again, these units are just actively trying to get that SCV killed. And now we have a lot of toxic nests in here. Probably not the best positioning for these toxic nests. I see a lot of people do this as well. You should be putting down your toxic nests in the front here. You should be using your toxic nests aggressively rather than defensively. If the attack wave reaches this part of the mission, then bad stuff is happening to you, and you probably don't want that. Now, let me talk about the mutators in general. Evasive maneuvers is annoying, not necessarily difficult to deal with. You see here, these units are just bouncing around. The power overwhelming mutator is going to be a problem, and you can see over here why. Because these units cast a lot of abilities. They have this little shield ability. They have seeker missiles. They have radiates. They have black holes. They have psionic orbs, and they have psionic storms. So these do get a little bit annoying to deal with, but Stukov is one of those commanders that is very effective at dealing with this mutator because his units are free. He doesn't really care if he ends up losing his infested units, so he's going to get a lot of value out of that. Abathur, on the other hand, will have to be a little bit more careful because his units are valuable, but given the fact that he had access to his ultimate evolutions, he will be able to have a little bit of sustainability, and this is a first. I've never actually seen I didn't even know like Abathur's queens could spread creep. That is like completely new to me. I was not aware that was a thing. I do use Abathur's queens. I just didn't know they had that creep spread ability. But there you go. Abathur is spreading creep right now with his creep tumors, which some of you might recall is a rock slapping champions video as well. Was it Abathur? It might have been Abathur. It might have been Carrion. I'm not really sure. I think it might have been Abathur. But anyway, there we go. So now we have an attack wave that's coming up here. We have depths here, and you can see how Stukov is pulling back. That is a sign of a good ally. Is when an ally actually pulls back unless the creep tumors get the kills, because that shows that your ally is actually aware of the game mechanics. So creep tumors give you 50% additional biomass if you get a kill or if you damage an enemy unit with them. So very important to, if you see an Abathur player, yes, you're not going to be getting the kill counts, but you are going to be helping your ally in the long run. So always make sure that you are luring enemy units into the Abathur creep tumors, because it's going to help your ally a lot. So we have the Alexander coming down now. just harassing some of this small enemy cap here and some of the enemy units that had spawned. And you can see here the amount of energy, like you can see that not a lot of skills are getting cast now on this Alexander, which means that the energy pool that the enemy units draw from has been exhausted, and this one is unique for every single player. So they don't necessarily need to have no energy so that they cannot cast their abilities. So to put this in another way, an enemy unit's energy bar can be filled, and they will still not be able to cast energy if they have used up the energy from the global energy pool that they have access to. So that is something to also note. If you keep spamming your units at Amon units, eventually they're just going to stop casting abilities until their energy pool does regenerate, but you're not going to get wrecked by Black Hole, Secret Missile, Yamato Cannon, all sorts of other nasty stuff in one cast. So this is why Stukov is actually very effective and has been dealing with the power overwhelming behavior. Apocalypse comes down here to try and help protect the allies' base. And overall, reasonably okay. We have a lot of roaches coming out here for Abathur. And Abathur doesn't seem like there's 100 biomass on the ground right now, which means that he should have at least one ultimate evolution. But Abathur is not doing that. He spread his biomass across all the across all his units here, so he's actually significantly less. He has a significantly lower power level than he would normally have, because the ultimate evolutions are really strong, and this is why it's very important to have to try and focus your biomass onto a single unit here. But yeah, Abathur is not doing that, and you can see over here now there is a bit of a problem because Stukov's creep is not spread that much. Now, one of the advantages of having an Abathur ally, which is going to help, is that Abathur can put down these creep tumors and provide Stukov with the creep that he needs to borrow his bunkers. So that'll be something else that'll be coming up now. But yeah, in general, if you want, you can actually put your command center over here once you've cleaned out the site, and that extra command center, I'm talking about the third command center, that extra command center will start spreading creep forward and will provide you with a little bit of creep spread onto this terminal as well, because this is the one where you will end up struggling with. You can see the creep here is not it's not spreading as fast for Stukov, and luckily for him, his ally is spreading creep manually, including like with the manual creep tumors, not the toxic nest, which is also kind of amusing. But in general, you might not have that. A yoink there on one of the infested units, and now Orion's transport is getting attacked by the photon cannon here. Stukov's infested are just a little bit out of range, but you can see here evasive maneuvers are getting really annoying, and the Orion's transport is taking a little bit of damage. But there we go. So now we have a Brula Scout, and then Radiate has come down onto one of the roaches here, and now there's a black hole, and all these units are irradiated, and now there's a double black hole here, and a lot of damage being dealt on Abathur's units on this side. But they managed to get out of there, and now there's another irradiate and a seeker missile on Abathur's units here. So every single player, or every player, with power overwhelming, every player has their own global energy pool. So enemy units, when they see a player's unit, they will cast from that energy pool. So there are 2 energy pools in total. Stukov's units, if you notice over here, is not really getting spammed with a lot of abilities. So you can see over here, yes, there was one storm here, but that was basically it. But notice what happened when Abathur's army engaged that army. He got 2 black holes, and a radiate, and a seeker missile, and then another radiate soon after. And the reason why is because Abathur hasn't been playing aggressively and hasn't been depleting that energy pool. So Amon never saw Abathur's units, and therefore Amon never used Abathur's energy pool to cast abilities on him. And as a result, that energy pool got really large. In fact, large enough to get cast with, in this case, double seeker missile and stuff like that. So it's something to also note that you have to actually you have to face tank a lot of these abilities, but face tanking something small like a yoink or a storm is a lot better than face tanking 2 black holes and 2 radiates and 2 seeker missiles and all sorts of other nasty stuff. You can see over here how much problem that's causing. We have Stukov is attempting to try and take this bonus objective, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge. but I think he might have that. He has his Apocalypse down now to help defend this side, and Abathur is dealing with the suppression tower. Not enough DPS though to deal with this. These units are not focusing down this suppression tower. And I think that Roach might get smoked there by that suppression tower over there. And for the most part, I think this area has been cleaned up. I think this data core is ready for capture, but you have to be really careful because it will spawn enemy units now. So there we go. So we have a bunch of bunkers being set up here. So this will help defending. This will help defend this objective here. Orana's transport is a little bit less than 50% HP right now, but I think for the most part this area will be safe. So bunkers are getting set up, and now the bonus objective has been triggered. So the bunkers have to burrow across now, or yeah, they have to burrow. And I think for the most part this bonus objective will be captured. Lots of good bunkers here now, and now there are 3 attack waves that have been spawned. I do not know why Abathur was out of position there. It is going to cause Orana's transport to take a little bit more damage, but Abathur does get back into position here with some Ravagers. Yeah, it's actually kind of disappointing. He also appears to have lost his Brutalisk. He should be focused. There's 640 biomass that has been dropped. Total of 928 has been picked up, so that collection rate is actually not very good. Abathur, you can see there's another black hole Lancer coming down here. Is it going to be a Seeker Missile? Nope, there's an Irradiate there on that Ravager. And a lot of these sentries are casting these shields, blocking these units out of the way. But yeah, Abathur is not focusing on collecting this biomass over here, which is really negatively impacting his power level in the game. He should be having his 6 ultimate evolutions out by now, because that is where your power level is as Abathur. He's getting all his upgrades, which is good. He's focusing on a Ravager build, which is not very strong here. And when you're dealing with a Mutator like this, you really need to make sure you are playing with the most efficient and the best build to deal with such a thing. You can see here now the Storm is coming down onto the Infested, but you know, Psionic Storms, much easier to deal with. See now how these things are not really going to get skill casted. The Time Warp gets dropped, it's again, you know, not very impactful, and that's what you want as when you're playing against Power Overwhelming. You want Amon to just deplete that energy pool, so he ends up casting Time Warps on you and like these random shields. So that's basically what you're trying to do. Abathur's pushing in from this side now. And yes, Fungal Growth that gets dropped and the Time Warp that gets dropped. And yeah, for the most part I think should be okay. Abathur has started to push aggressively now on this mission, so that energy pool will get depleted. Orana's transport is making its way here, which means now there will be an attack wave that will be coming up on this side. I think these bunkers might be completing just in time to help. And yeah, there we go. So unfortunately there are Immortals in this mix, which are going to end up shredding these bunkers. There is an unload here on the bunker. Very nice micro there. So Stukov noticed that that bunker was getting focus fired down by the Immortal, so he unloads the bunker, and that instantly de-aggroes those units from that bunker, because that bunker now deals no damage. So very quick thinking there on Stukov's side, and now we have an Alexander on this side with the help of a couple of Brutalisks, and they can focus down the Hybrid Dominator. Hybrid Dominator ends up going down, and now there's another unload. There's not an unload, there's just an Infested Colonists compound, which will probably get lifted and be moved across a little bit closer here, so just to help Stukov with the reinforcement. Lots of bunkers are getting dropped now on this side as well. The one thing though that I would like to see is maybe a few siege tanks. A bunker line is really good. When you're dealing with a bunch of Immortals, they end up dealing a lot of damage. So having maybe 2 or 3 siege tanks just in the back can actually help reduce the amount of bunker casualties that Stukov can sometimes have in this kind of composition. You know, like I said, you don't really need a lot of siege tanks. I normally build about 6 to 10 siege tanks, and then I split them in packs of 3. So 3 siege tanks per side, and then you can end up locking down pretty much all the suppression towers, and you can deal with the attack waves as well. So just have 3 sets of 3 or something, and usually that should be enough, because yeah, Reavers and Disruptors with this Robo Reaver composition, they are made to just completely shred through enemy defenses, and having those siege tanks up with a volatile infested can not only wipe the attack wave, but it draws aggro away from your bunkers, which helps a lot. So we do have a bunch of missile turrets coming out. I believe that is for for detection, maybe to deal with some of the air units here. But yeah, I think having siege tanks out is a little bit better. Next suppression tower is out, but now Abathur's army is starting to get really large and scary. Abathur's at 170 supply, but again, all that supply is in roaches and, like, again, no ultimate evolutions. Like, I can see 3 Brulisks, but no Leviathans, which is very unfortunate. Abathur is losing out a lot on the potential damage. You can take a look at this bunker line. This is basically Fort Knox. Unfortunately, the Robo Reaver composition can actually shred through these bunkers very quickly, which is why there's a little bit of importance to having some siege tanks out there. So we have another wave of infested will be coming out now that will be trying to push into this side. And there's a suppression tower here, but Abathur jumps onto that suppression tower, and he will end up clearing that side out. And there we go. You can see that jump on that infested colonist compound. So Stukov has moved that compound forward here, just to provide him with a little bit of faster reinforcements. And then the Radiate goes down one of those eggs, almost taking out some of these eggs. But that Psi emitter is still on that tower. It'll get repositioned at some point. Yeah, there we go. Psi emitter gets repositioned, and now they will be ready to push in. There's a little bit of a choke point there, so these couple of bunkers need to be moved out of the way. But the Apocalypse is also here. I think the Apocalypse was used to clear out this next bonus objective, which will be actually ripe for the taking, because these bunkers are in position to deal with the spawn points and the harass waves that will be spawned once the bonus objective gets triggered. Another repositioning of the Psi emitter, and now Stukov is going to start moving his infested through here. I'm also not sure why these toxic nests are being used like this, because the toxic nests do take some time to spawn. They can actually get taken out in that time, but there we go. So this area gets cleaned up now. This is the last terminal, and Orion's transport is still not even nearby. But you see all this... The biomass collection actually has improved reasonably well. 2,000 biomass out of 2,500. It's still not optimal. It's an 80% collection rate. You kind of want to aim for about 90 to 95%. But there we go. The bunkers have all been lifted, unfortunately, moved out of the way, and a black hole catches pretty much all of Abathur's army there. Fortunately for Abathur, no Seeker Missile or Irradiate on his army, so he's able to clean up that attack wave when the bonus objective has been triggered. And I think they will be going for the next set of bonus objectives as well. Yeah, okay. So that was the last attack wave, and now the Alexander gets dropped on this side. And it'll just be used to soften up this enemy base over here, and Stukov is using his Infested to push into this southern base. And unfortunately, there's no way of knowing what the pattern is. It's either the suppression tower or that one. So in this case, this one has spawned first. So now it is up to the allied commanders to try and push in and clean up that tower before it causes too much havoc. An attack wave, I believe, had spawned on this side, but again, lots of infested here for Stukov. Stukov at this point is really powerful, but you can see the amount of splash damage these disruptors can deal combined with the Reavers. And again, there are a lot of units here. I don't think anything is going to happen to these units. Like Stukov, again, doesn't really care. He has spawned a total of 1,763 units so far, and there is no sign of stopping for Stukov. There we go. You have a few more bunkers now getting set up to spawn camp the third set of towers. So this is he's preparing not for the next wave, which will be over here, but he's preparing for the third wave that'll be on this one and that one over there. There's a spawn over here, and the bunkers are able to instantly delete a lot of the units there. You can see here these Reavers can cause a lot of damage to these static defenses. But Abathur again is in position, and that tower goes down. And now we have the last set of towers here. Stukov flexing on Amon, just instantly wiping out like a lot of the attack waves, and he's going to try and clean up this enemy base here. We have a few more bunkers that'll be getting ready, and now the spawn will come up. This thing will burrow just in time, and now the attack wave has spawned on this side and the attack wave on this side. This attack wave just gets completely shredded by Abathur's army. This side, lots of bunkers ready, and will get cleaned up as well. And now all that's left is a suppression tower here for the commanders to deal with, and that is basically it. There is another attack wave that spawned on this side, but again, gets instantly deleted by Stukov's static defenses here, his bunkers. That is the last attack wave, and all the suppression towers have been cleaned up. So now it is just a matter of time before Urana ends up cleaning up this this last security terminal. And yeah, there we go. This is pretty much, I think, almost an all clear. Yeah, this is basically an all clear. The only thing is that these point defense drones are still around, but that doesn't really count. And there we go. That is the last security terminal done, and that is GG.